Welcome to the Talk and Chatter experience powered by Gasoline Alley Harley Davidson. Today's guest is professional flat tracker, Max Whale. Welcome, mate.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Mate, it's such a huge privilege to have you here. You've travelled all around the States this year in a pretty crazy year. Probably your most successful year in that form. Welcome.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, no, excited to be here and it should be good.
Who's Max Whale?
I'm a 19-year-old Australian that races American flat track in United States for 9 months of the year and races AFT Singles.
And you've got a last name that's pretty synonymous with motorcycle racing in Australia. Obviously, your dad's Brett Whale, Whale's Kawasaki and Whale's motorcycle store up the road here. Yeah, it's quite a name within the sport, hey? Here.
Yeah, no, it's good. Lucky to have him, and yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
So let's get back. How did you start in motorcycle racing? I'm guessing you've just been around it forever, but how was it?
Pretty much like as long as I can remember, growing up, I was always at the shop at Wales, Motorcycle World, always there. And pretty much as soon as I turned 4, I started racing. That's all I can remember. I had a little KDX 50, and yeah, just been racing ever since.
Wow, it's pretty crazy. Did you guys grow up around here? Like, to have the store there, you must have been around here or something.
When I was younger, I think the age of 6, we moved up to Gympie, but from when I was a real young fellow, we used to live at Santa Barbara, Gold Coast.
Okay, yeah, right, yep. Now that store up here was a huge thing for this area. You know, it was such a big thing. Do you have any memories of it?
Yeah, I got a couple of good memories. I remember one day they were working on a brand new KX 52 stroke in the workshop in the back there, and I was playing around. I was probably 4 at the time or something, and I was messing with it, and the mechanics told me not to. And I remember pulling the foot peg, and the thing fell on top of me.
Oh no! Brand new?
Yeah, brand new. And I remember Dad was not pumped, but there's a few of those stories. But yeah, it was awesome growing up and seeing a lot of the races that Dad used to help out and stuff, always in the shop, and just hanging around used to be such a cool thing, and all the salesmen, everyone knew me, so it was awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those things, and your dad did help so many different races out as well, so you would have seen a lot of people passing through those doors. Yeah,
no, for sure.
So, racing, did you start racing at 4? Like, that was just the start, or what?
I pretty much started racing as soon as I could. I started riding when I was like 3, just in a couple of like parks near home, but started racing when I was 4 at My Catcher Junior Motorcycle Club.
Yep. So making the trip down from up the way to My Catcher?
Yeah, well, we used to live at the Gold Coast, so it used to be like 10 minutes from home, but...
so you're still living down that way when this all started?
Yeah. But when I was like 6, we moved up to the farm, so yeah.
Ah, cool. And how did you go at the start? Were you natural, or did it take some time?
When I was real young, I was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I used to just do it because I enjoyed it, and, Dad used to race a little bit too, and it used to be just fun.
So how old are you now? You're 19?
Yeah, just turned 19, yeah.
So when you're between 4 and 6 on that sort of style, do you remember who you're racing against that's come through now?
Oof. I raced a lot of people that I'm still racing now. When I was real young at Hatches. He was a little bit younger than me, but I raced like Kaish and Wheel.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of people older than me that I still know and I talk to that are really good friends with, like Jake Allen, Kazi Thompson, all those guys. But when I was 4 to 6, a lot of the people that I rode with aren't really doing it that much anymore at the Gold Coast. But I didn't. I sort of just used to go to the track and have fun, not really, hang out with them.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And after Hatches, where would have been another place that you would have rode at?
North Brisbane Junior Motorcycle Club.
Yep.
That's sort of been my main club ever since then. Since I moved to the farm, it's the closest track near us, really. So yeah.
Such a breeding ground for racing, hey?
North Brisbane. For sure. Yep.
So did you go to the Speedway on Saturday?
I did, yes.
Good, eh?
Oh, it was unreal.
Yeah,
great racing.
Such a good meeting.
Yep.
Okay, so you would have been riding that. What was the next step for you after that? What would you have got onto?
When I started turning like 7, we started going to title meetings. We started travelling a little bit, New South Wales, and so forth, up north, far north Queensland. Yep. But that was sort of about it. We never really we sort of did local meetings and a few title meetings that were not too far away. But then when I started turning like 10 and that, then we started going to Canberra and a bit further. But yeah, it's been good.
Isn't it one of those sports where like you get football families and they get upset that they've got to go to the north side to go to play sport on a Saturday?
Yeah.
geez, you get around as a flat track racer, hey?
Oh yeah, I remember like Dad used to have this thing. So we used to race Saturday, Sunday at a title meeting,
Yep.
and then he'd drive all night Sunday, and get me back to school on Monday because he used to try and like I appreciate it, but like he drove all night,
Wow.
so I could get to school on Monday. But yeah, no. So we'd be in. A couple of times we were in Summersby, and he'd drive all night, and then he'd stop at 3:00 or something, and then Mum would drive the last 2 hours home, and then I'd get up for school at like 7:30 a.m.
Man, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you got to think too, like, and you know it now. You've just done a whole year yourself as such as well. He's not taking it easy through the days. Like he's always got something to do as well. Then driving all night. They're on the clock.
He'd drive all Friday, have a little rest Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday work on the bikes flat out.
Yep.
And then, as soon as Sunday's finished, he'd get in the car and drive home the whole way.
Man, that's huge.
It's crazy.
And it's just a familiar story with so many races. It happens so often.
Yeah.
Especially flat track. It's
yeah.
real core racing where people are traveling just massive distances, and it's really, really cool sport for that. How'd you go when you started to get into those sort of ranks, starting travelling around in that?
I struggled a little bit at the start, just with coming to grips with the new competition and that. But by the age of 13, 12, I really started half like turning it around, which was good. 250 time, but So
as soon as and you're 6'4" now, you just said.
Yeah.
You're obviously tall as a 13, 14-year-old. You must have felt pretty good getting onto a 250.
Yeah, I always liked the bigger bikes.
Yep.
Pretty much as soon as I could get up, I normally did, or in a couple of months I'd go up. So yeah, I always preferred a bigger bike when I was growing up.
Who was someone like back then that you'd look to that was sort of like an idol or an influence? Like you had a lot of different people floating around your house even.
Yeah.
Who was someone you looked up to?
When I was really young, I used to look up to all the motocrossers a lot. Like at the time, Luke George, Luke Arbon, Cody Mackey, Mitch Hode, those guys. But then once I started getting a little bit older and started racing myself, I always looked up to a good mate that I've known my whole life, Jake Allen. So yeah, that's I looked up to him, but it's crazy.
And he won on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. He actually won on Saturday.
It was good too.
Yeah, it was.
So he's incredibly talented, eh?
Oh yeah,
incredibly. So he was someone that you sort of say idolised.
Yeah, when I was young. Yep.
And so travelling around in that, did you enjoy the travel part of it, or was that just a necessity you get to races?
Like now or when I was young?
Back when you were young.
Oh, it didn't really bother me that much. I never drove. I used to just lay in the back or play on a phone or an iPad or something, and Dad would just drive, like non-stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been Kawasaki your whole
life, pretty much, yeah. So
man, that's a long relationship.
Yeah.
From 4 years old.
Yeah. I had a couple of years where I rode a Honda, but that's about it, really.
Yeah, right. What's been your favourite track in Australia?
Favourite track in Australia so far would have to be Gunnedah right near Tamworth, oil track. It's a good track for sure.
Awesome track, eh?
Oh yeah, and then there's another one, Appin, just south of Sydney. That's a great track too.
Now that's the new Appin track that they just did the last 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah. It's like purpose built for almost 19s really.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to ride and good layout and got a good flow to it.
Yeah, it's. I was down there filming the New South Wales state titles for the motocross.
Okay, yeah.
I got to go over and have a bit of a look at that, and that's where they did Sultans too, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was the second round of Sultan to slide.
Yeah, that looks like a really, really good surface.
No, it is.
Tell me about going to 19s. Huge step for you at the time.
Yeah, huge step. Before I went to America when I was 14, I rode a lot in Australia on a 250.
Yep.
But over there you can ride a 450 at 14.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I remember when I went over to Amateur Nationals, it would have been 15.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old on a 450, and it was a huge step. But it took me a little bit to get used to it. But once I sort of got the hang of it, I really enjoy them, and it takes like a whole different style of riding to go fast, which I enjoy a lot.
So, because you would have grown up on 2118.
Yeah.
Pretty much your whole time, apart from going to places like Gunnedah and stuff.
Yeah. We're at 17
or
or 17, 19. Yep.
Wow, it's such a huge change for the bike and that. And
yeah.
Do you think that should be something that should be consistent. Just everywhere you go, you should have a 19. And
Yeah, for
everyone's on
sure.
it.
I feel like a 19 should be in Australia as well.
Yep.
Like one tyre could get you through a whole meeting.
Yep.
Where in Australia, if you want to win an Australian title or a Brisbane Cup for say in a couple of weeks,
Yep.
you're gonna have to take 3 tyres there, 2 rear tyres. Where 19s you can just have one set and you'll be good for the day. You just turn it around.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. So the conventional trials tyre that people have used forever, at a North Brisbane Cup, you go through 3?
Well,
2
it
to
depends
3?
how the track is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go through 2 at least. Yeah.
Man,
And
mine
like,
would last a year.
like the cup race
Yeah.
that you start off with a fresh edge, and by the end of it, you're pretty much
Gone.
Yeah, it's pretty much gone.
You racing that?
Yeah, I am racing Brisbane Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And going to the States at 14 years old. Now, you don't have to say this, but like your season that you've just come to now, you've just won your first AFT Singles Track, like full
Yeah.
open race. You see the Lawrence, Jet and Hunter, obviously. You're sort of comparing paths, but you're in a flat track path compared to a supercross motocross path.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well, like a similarity?
Not really. Like a little bit, not really. Like those guys are, like I suppose so, a little bit, but yeah. But those guys, they've come from England as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hunter, for say he did really well in England, then came over to America, and
They did their grounding over there.
yeah. And Jet being 16 years old, I think he just turned 17, and he's already winning races. It's
Massively.
crazy. It's huge.
But like you're 19 years old now, and you've come through just not the same sort of thing, but it's such a huge step for somebody.
Yeah,
I
it is
feel,
for sure. Yeah.
And let's talk about this year.
All right, sweet. Yeah.
You got to Daytona, same as Jared. I had Jared Brook on here as well.
Yep.
And there's no Daytona.
Yeah.
How'd the year go? What happened?
It literally so we drove all my bikes and stuff is normally kept in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So me and Dad landed in Pennsylvania. We spent 2 weeks building these bikes.
Wow.
They were last year's bikes from the year before, but we just fully tore them down and went over the whole thing. And then we drove, I think it's like 13, 14 hours to Daytona.
So 2018. 19
Yep.
KX450Fs.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
And so we drove down to Daytona, and we pretty much unloaded the whole trailer. And they said, unloaded it, just starting to set the tent up and everything. And they give this emergency call thing on the radio, and we go up to the main tower at Daytona.
Yep.
And I remember going in there, and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, it's been cancelled, national emergency." And we were like, "What?" And then,
Wow.
and so then it was a week till Atlanta, and then everyone pretty much knew that was going to be cancelled as well.
Yep.
And so my dad, we went back up to Pennsylvania, and he hung out there for maybe 2 or 1 more week, and then he's like, "I got to go home." And I was like, "Yeah, you just go home. It could be 4 months till our next race. It could be 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'll be right." But yeah, it was like 4 months. I sat around in an RV, just trying to find places to ride and stuff for 4 months, and then
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, no. So the first 2 months, I was in Pennsylvania. I was lucky enough to hang out with Briar and Shayna Bauman, and Don's Kawasaki. I was just hanging out there in the RV, but yeah, hung out there. And the first 2 months, there was barely anything on because it was like complete shutdown.
Wow.
And so there was nothing to do. And then once that sort of got over the 2 month, I drove to Illinois to hang out with Briar's brother Bronson Bauman.
Yep.
And and the Camp family, and I hung out there and rode for a month, and I actually broke my arm riding at.
Did ya?
Yeah, no one really knows about it, but yeah, I broke my arm, and it's kind of lucky because they were going to say we were racing in 3 weeks. That was the plan, but no, that was not that didn't happen. So I was actually kind of lucky in a way because when I broke my arm, it ended up being 4 weeks in a cast, and so
You would have missed the first race.
I would have missed the first race, yeah. But it didn't, it got cancelled, so that was the only plus thing about it. But yeah, I spent a bit of time at my other buddy's house, Matt Gunther, and then Barry and Lisa Bauman as well, and Keith and Jill Singleton. So yeah, spent a lot of time just hanging out at friends' places, and yeah, just waiting for the next race.
Do they take you in like family?
Oh, for sure, it's awesome. I'm so lucky to have so many awesome families that help me out in America. They'll just I parked the RV there, and they just fully helped me out, which is
Because it'd be hard without that.
for sure. I couldn't do it without them.
That's
It's that's it. I go to the house and I can pull all the stuff out of my trailer, do all my bikes and stuff, and they're totally fine with it. So you can't really just go to a Walmart car park and, pull everything out and start prepping it, yeah.
Because a lot of, and you would have, I guess, in your travels, you've done this for a while now, you would have done the whole Walmart thing.
Oh, I've done it plenty of times, yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I still did it this year. You got to pull everything out of the campground or, just something like that. I remember when Dad was over there, because I didn't do it by myself. I wouldn't do it by myself, but Dad would go to an abandoned building and we'd just set up and just start pulling everything out and stuff.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's gold.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
What's your RV? What do you got? Tell us about this thing.
I actually call it Pablo. It's a wild beast. Me and Dad bought it really cheap off Craigslist, and it's a wild beast. I'll tell you that much. The roof leaks. It's a wild bit of gear.
So it's not the glamorous lifestyle.
No.
Lifestyle traveling around.
No, for sure. No.
Trailer.
Yeah, I got our trailer's pretty nice, but the RV sucks.
And what's the, is it gas or is it a diesel thing?
It's a gas, yeah.
Oh, man, you pouring fuel into it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, mate. So, Pennsylvania, what's the riding like? Obviously, there's a bit of a base there of people. Is there good riding through there as well?
Yeah, it's pretty good riding. A few good tracks. But, it's just, I got the people there that helped me out so much in Pennsylvania. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I'd say for riding, Illinois is pretty good too because there's so many tracks in Illinois.
Yeah.
So many people that have home tracks that we can ride at and stuff. So yeah.
Man, is that something that surprised, compared to here? You've got a home track?
Yep.
Who else has got a home track? That'd be pretty rare.
I know 2 people, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, but you go over there and probably, how many home tracks have there been? Nearly everyone.
There's a few, not many. It's more of the thing clubs over here. If you want to go to a club track and rent it out, it'd be a big deal. You need ambulances. You need. It's going to cost a lot of money. Where you could just ring, a guy that owns a track up that you're good friends with and say, hey, can you prep this track and I'll give you a couple $100, and he'd be like, yeah, no, sweet as. And you just shop and ride all day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's pretty cool and good prep tracks.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good.
Clay.
Clay and a loose dirt as well.
So you get a fair variation of your riding over there, hey?
Oh, for sure. It goes from one extreme to another.
And so the Shayna.
Yeah.
How was it staying there?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You learn so much from them. Brian and Shayna. But
one of the Shayna's the most winning singles rider ever, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you learn a lot.
Yeah, learn a lot from their training to everything. How they eat. But it's just super cool.
How's your training been? What's you travel so much? What do you do?
It's hard to do a lot, keep a consistent program, especially with doing your bikes as well. But I just try and run and cycle as much as I can. Occasionally do, just other few things, but mainly just try and run. And I bought a cycle bike this year. Yeah. And so I do a little bit of that as well. So yeah.
And I guess leaving your RV with your trailer, with your 2 bikes in it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to leave it too many, go and cycle for a few hours. You probably wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't come back to an RV.
No, you wouldn't be real keen on that, I guess, either.
Nah, so yeah, I just, you go for a run around some dodgy areas and the pace starts to, quicken up every time you go running.
You keep thinking about what's happening. Yeah, it's such a, mate, you're 19. Mm-hmm. You're traveling through some pretty crazy places as a 19-year-old by yourself.
Yeah.
With, whatever the figure is of bikes sitting in the back of it as well. So it's how does it feel to going around like that, just being 19?
It's all right. It's pretty cool. You try not to think too much about it.
Yeah.
But you definitely you'll be driving on the motorway and you look across and the fuel light's on and you're looking and it's this is not looking good. You're driving through the hood. So you just try and you got to try and judge your trip.
Yeah.
For a good fuel stop. So that's these 3 fuel stops I stop at: Love's Travel Center, Flying J Travel Center, and Travel America or something like that. Auto centers.
Yep. And
so they got massive fuel stations for the RV. So I'd have to try and reverse it into some tiny little fuel bowser and then they're all in good areas. There's not they're not dodgy or anything like that. So it's good.
They're like a premium shop. They're safe,
Yeah.
So, you had any mishaps along the way in the RV or anything?
I had a couple of tyres go out in the trailer on the way to Texas, but that was all right. Got it sorted and, that's just, it is what it is really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you've obviously had to learn a lot on your feet.
Yeah,
as well. You've travelled around for years racing bikes. That stuff happens
Yeah,
here, you know?
Yep.
Doesn't it make Australia look very easy when you start travelling over there?
So yeah, it's totally different.
You know, you can pull up pretty much anywhere and you know
You
you're
can.
going to be pretty much safe.
Another thing is too, in the RV, there's not many like water, like, you know, taps.
Oh, really? Over there?
Yeah, so it's super hard to find water. So
Like clean water?
yeah. So like, you know, over here you see them on the side of the road everywhere, on
Yeah.
the side of buildings. You can just hook up, whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's like, as I said, those three like the servos,
Yep.
gas stations we call them in America.
Yeah.
They're the only ones like with water spigots.
Wow.
Like, that's what they call them. So like taps.
Yeah.
And so you got to go to those three to get water. And so
Man.
sometimes they don't even have them. So like, you need water so bad, and you're driving around for an hour, half an hour, trying to find water for the RV. There's so many little things that
Yep.
that people just don't see. It happens.
So like cheats along the way. You've got like cheats that you go, okay, that's gas station is going to have this.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure there's certain things that you go to all these little places
yeah.
that by now you've got like a pattern, I guess.
Got a
eh?
rough idea, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
When you went over at 14, was that like a huge eye opener?
It was crazy driving on the wrong side of the road and
Yep.
just seeing how like the Americans do it. Really, you know, we drove straight to Pennsylvania and we did 2 race meetings in our first weekend, I think. So
Wow.
it was just like just like, wow, look at this.
Because like coming from here, you would have been 6 weeks apart.
Yep.
You would have raced a race meeting, and then it would have been 4 weeks time. You've got to be 2,000 k's north. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But 2 in a weekend.
Yeah, so like we drove. I'm pretty sure the first one was at like a track called Square Deal in Pennsylvania, and then we got in the car and drove 3 hours at night.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be 3 hours, but Mum put the wrong like address in the GPS, so we had to drive we drove 3 hours the wrong way.
Yeah.
And Dad goes, I swear we've been on this road before, and Mum's like looking, oh no. So we drove 6 hours all night back to the other raceman, and we did like 5 laps of practice and it got rained out.
Oh, you
Yeah,
serious?
so just so many of those stories. It's just like, it's hilarious. But you look at it, it's hilarious now, but it wasn't at the time.
Oh, the stress levels are huge.
Yeah.
Why, like, not why America? Obviously, if you're going to race flat track, you want to. Was it a huge decision to go over there at that age?
Yeah, for sure. It was like we sort of planned it for about a year or so.
Yeah.
That we thought about doing it and wanted to give it a go.
Yeah.
I did Speedway before that, and I sort of did it for I think 2 years, and I started losing. Like, I didn't really enjoy it that much anymore.
So you got to win.
Yeah, so I went over to America to give it a go, and loved it. But I ended up getting second, 2 seconds, and a fourth in the first year amateur nationals.
Yep.
And then the second year I got 3 seconds, so I had plenty of seconds.
Yeah.
And a couple of them I missed by like 1 point.
Wow.
So many times, but yeah, no, it is what it is.
Did you feel accepted when you went over there? Like,
No, the people are really nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that's something that I've had James Rispoli on and Brad and spoken to him off camera and that as well. That's something that sounds like actually is it happens there. Like, everyone talks pretty openly, and it's competitive as anything, but it's a pretty friendly environment.
Yeah, it is, and I could go up to like 3 riders that I race against and tell them exactly what I'm going to do to my bike, and they'll tell me exactly the same thing they're going to do to theirs. So it's like really cool.
And are the bikes you're on, what are you doing? Is there much you can do, or is it pretty much open market, or what's the go? Like,
you can't touch the frame or the swing arm.
Yep.
But you can do motor work. You can. There's like a certain limit on the fuel, like the
Like octane.
No, yeah, we got a spec fuel, spec tires. Suspension can be anything, but there's like a throttle body like limit and stuff like that. But that's about it. And obviously you have to be 450.
Yep. And without saying the power numbers, do you know roughly what a power number of a good 450 would be over there?
Yeah.
60s?
I've heard, like, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard some are making early 70s.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's a lot, eh?
Yeah. But it could just be like a downhill dyno.
Yeah, you just never know. There's no...
Or people could just be pulling your leg.
Someone just purely lying. Yeah. But it's a big number, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge.
And when you went on to the A-Tech suspension kit...
Oh, yeah.
A-Kit, sorry.
A-Kit, yeah.
A-Kit. What for someone that doesn't know, what's it like? Does it just change the bike completely, or...
Yeah, so I was lucky enough that Showa helped me out last year.
So that's Showa factory, like that's a factory fork, isn't it?
Yep. It just pretty much like the 2019 KX450, they came out with them pretty similar.
Yep.
But so it's just like just a suspension. It's just better. That's pretty much it. Like it's hard to describe what it is, but yeah, it's like got the special coatings and all that stuff. But yeah.
So is it is it like you would have tested back to back, no doubt? Is it like up here to here? Like, is it that much?
I noticed the front was better,
Yeah.
a lot better, but the rear shock I actually ended up using OEM sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, so it just depends what track you're at and stuff.
Yeah. Just OEM sprung and valve to suit yourself, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty. Yeah, it's just one of those things you see. You see, obviously, I watch the Supercross all the time, and that you hear about the factory fork, and
Yeah.
you just think, wonder what it's like to be on. You know?
It's more so motocross, supercross, obviously,
Yep.
because they're jumping and
Yep.
going through braking bumps that are just like this deep, you know.
For sure.
But for us, you know, it helps out a little bit, but you know, not as much as them, obviously.
When you went over the first time, did you take bikes or did you get bikes over there? And
No, we get bikes over there normally.
You
Yeah.
did, yep.
Yeah.
And so that even the first time.
Yeah. Yes, we bought a brand new stock 2016 KX450, I think it was.
KXs have been known since they come out in 2006, 7 as like a potent motor, hey? Like a strong.
Yeah,
the engine's a strong, fast engine, hey?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, and same still now.
There's definitely a lot of other brands getting around that are,
Yep.
you know, really good. Obviously, the KTM, you know, it's yeah.
It's a premium bike,
Yeah.
obviously, as well. Tell me, why is Shayna so good?
She just is good. I couldn't like she's fast.
Yep.
You know, she's smooth, and she's not scared at all. Like it's
There's just
crazy.
no fear.
No, she's great. She's
Yeah.
There's nothing like there's no way to describe it. She's good. Yeah.
She's just a really good racer, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you just look, and that's something that is so hard to tell when somebody rides so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
You just smooth obviously is fast, but it's
Yeah.
so hard to tell, you know?
Yeah, and it's hard to do as well.
Yep. And yeah, it must be, you've obviously ridden private tracks with them as
Yep.
a group. How you know, when you first went there, has your pace picked up from doing that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They taught me a lot of things, like Briar especially. Like
Yep.
when I first started riding with them at the start of the year, I'd go out, you know, the track would be probably overwatered or it'd be dusty or something.
Yep.
And I'd crash, and he'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, just slow down." And so I learned a lot just from them. Like, you know, just like sometimes the track is, you know, not 100%. So, or you know, it could be it could be terrible. Like, and a couple of times it was.
Yeah.
Like, just slow it all down and relax. And yeah, I learned a lot from him.
So you just see the track continually evolving, hey?
Yeah, he's
Yep.
he's good.
What's you got to go on the twin, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a couple of guys on the Springfield Mile. Yep.
How was that?
It was crazy. Like the
Yep.
drafting, and then, you know, the corners, especially at Springfield,
Yep.
they're so wide and just, you know, flowing.
Yep.
You barely even let off.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And like, what sort of speeds?
I think we're doing like 100 mile an hour.
160 Ks?
No, we're doing more. I think it's like 130 or something. Yeah.
Mile an hour?
Yeah.
Man, that's fast.
Yeah.
And the
That's
drafting, you feel like, because coming from here, you wouldn't notice really drafting anywhere.
and I've never done road racing either, so you'll be in the mile and like you'll get sucked in, no front brake, and you got to judge it good, because obviously no front brake coming into the corner.
Wow.
If you pull out too late,
Yeah.
you can just slide off the groove and take them with you. So yeah, a lot goes into it. Yeah.
And not nervous, but was there a bit of nerves there before you went out and doing that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just a totally different bike. That's all I was nervous about.
For sure.
Yeah.
How'd that opportunity come up?
I was searching for a twin to ride for Springfield, and Shayna, you know, told me the McGrain family are looking for a rider, and I was lucky enough to get on the McGrain twin, which is super lucky.
And is it everything you would have expected?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Do you know what you're doing for 2021?
I do, yes.
You do? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So this year, like, you obviously come out, you do your win, everything like that. It's not a surprise because you're an unreal rider,
Mm-hmm.
but that must have just felt so good, so much relief, I guess, eh?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I went there, you know, with Bry's dad and Bronson's dad. He was
really?
my mechanic on the weekends. I was super lucky to have him.
Yeah, right.
Barry Bauman.
Yeah.
And he went there, and there's actually a test day, but the day before, and we did it.
Yeah.
And I think I was like second and first, you know, like a few of the sessions, and he's like, "Dude, you can do it." And it was sort of like, yeah, like, because my best finish before then was just 1/3.
Yeah.
And so I was like, like, we'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Just sort of, and then I went out for qualifying and the practice, and I think I was second in every practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
A semi come round, and a whole shot of my semi, and won that. And then the main event, I actually got a pretty bad start in the main. I got shuffled around a little bit.
Wow.
But I passed him, and got to the front. And it's crazy, honestly. Best feeling in the world.
Oh, it must have been. It was like, you've won titles. You're 19. You've had an awesome career already.
Mm-hmm.
But that must have been just a huge moment in your life.
Oh, it was just like, I just dreamt about it for so many years. Like, and just to go across that line, it was crazy.
And I'm guessing, because I seen it here, your social media must have lit up pretty heavily.
Yeah, it did.
Because like every person that I know that loves that sport so much as well, sharing the win. Yeah. Like, so your phone must have went wild as soon as that happened, eh?
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
And how was the rest of the year?
It's
a disrupted year too. Like you've had, it's a strange
for sure.
year.
Yeah, so like it took us 4 months to get a race in from when we normally start.
Yep.
The second round was Indy. Oh, so we have like the double headers. And so on day 2 of Volusia, my fast bike actually broke.
What happened to it?
Something happened to the ECU, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we had to end that. So I had to ride the slower bike, and that thing, it wasn't the best, but it was okay. I think I ended up 8th that day.
Yep.
Then we went on to Indy Mile, and I'll tell you right now, my bikes aren't horsepower machines.
Yeah.
And I'm a tall guy too. I struggled, staying with the fast guys in the lead draft, and that's as simple as that. So I struggled a little bit at Indy, but I felt like it wasn't through lack of riding.
Yep.
I ended up, I think, a 6th and a 12th there, or 7th and a 12th, yeah. And then I went from a bit of a rough. Actually, next was Springfield, and I got a podium and a 4th there, so that was pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, it was good for the points. And then from we had Williamsgrove, and then we had Texas. I struggled a little bit at those two, and I was kind of surprised because in the previous years I don't go too bad at Williamsgrove, and I just struggled a fair bit there with setup and a few little things. But Texas was my worst round. It was terrible. And
was that something that hey, sometimes people go to places and they expect that it's not going to be their best round. It's like if you could ditch a round, you ditch that round.
Yeah.
Did you expect that was going to be the worst? Or?
No, I thought I was going to grab a podium at Williamsgrove.
Yep.
Honestly, I really did after getting 2 podiums early on. And I think I was 3rd in points, 4th in points at that stage. So I thought, we could get a podium here. And I did.
It must be so competitive too.
Oh, it's crazy. This setup is so much.
Yep.
But obviously I learned a lot about this year, but you just got to be confident. A confidence and a strong head's a lot, goes into it a lot.
What, on a mile track, do you know off the top of your head what sort of gear in? Like you're talking like a 1539 or something? Like it'd have to be something fairly...
It's like 14, because the Kawasaki you can't get a 15 on the front.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a 14, 39 to 43, depends.
Yep.
Yep, so very around there.
Mate, at a 39, you'd be just about the size of a hub.
Yeah, it's so pretty small.
Yeah, I know my old supermoto bike, that was on 250 was you could get the 15 on, 1539, and it was pretty small sprocket. So
it's tiny.
Mate, that's fast, eh?
Oh yeah.
So what are you in? Like going around a mile, are you in just top gear, or do you drop a gear back, or what?
A lot of people just use 4th gear.
Okay, yeah.
I use 4th and 5th shifting.
Yeah.
A lot more people shifted this year as well.
Is that because of a riding style?
I feel like it's just more because I don't know. I really don't know. Like a lot of people just normally kept it in 1 gear, but everyone started shifting at tracks like they never would have shifted at before.
Really?
In the previous years. So it almost suited my style a little bit more because obviously back home we shift a lot. So that helped me out a little bit.
Is riding style something you think about a lot? Like, are you one of these people that really sits down and thinks, or are you a talented rider that just goes, I just ride this thing and it just happens? Or what do you do?
I had a few things I used to struggle with a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously I got such long legs. My knees used to hit the bars when I used to get it low.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And so I had to try and work out a way with my leg, and that rattled me for a little bit. At one time in the off season, I think it was last year, I was just at home and I used to just try with my leg in different spots, and I wasn't comfortable there. So it took me a while to get comfortable with that, but that's about it really. Yeah.
Wow, that's because some people just just don't even think about their riding at all. They've just got talent, just talent's there. And then some people really analyse every single part of, body position and that.
Yeah.
You sort of fit the middle probably.
Yeah,
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And have you adjusted your riding style to?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I rode on the farm 3 days ago with Australian setup, and I was not loving it for the first couple of laps. It was just totally different. You got to ride the bike, In America, I sit more back, further back. But, back in Australia, you got to be back over the front because the trials tyres are so grippy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's just a few little things, but get used to it.
So you're riding currently with the 2118?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And what's that? So what's your surface at the farm?
Just like natural dirt, really.
Yep.
Yeah, just like brown, sort of like soily dirt.
So you're just putting in some time before basically North Brisbane?
Yeah, and then back on 19s.
Yep.
Still doing a little bit of both now, but after Brisbane Cup, it'll just be all 19s.
Yep, straight back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just purely to practice for next year.
Yep.
And without saying too much about what you're doing next year, you're obviously going back to America. That's got to be the plan.
Yep, for sure.
Have they released a calendar yet? Like, have they got a...
Not yet. I don't think so, yeah.
Yep. Be interesting to see how that season, if the season goes back to being, a full season starting in March at Daytona or something like that. Hey?
Yeah.
So that's the ideal scenario, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're planning on that. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And how did COVID affect things? Obviously, 4 months of no racing, but did you see things like when you're over there? What was, is everyone just locked up, or what's it like?
How like a lot at the start, people were scared. Like they were really, really scared.
Yep.
And so I forget my mask all the time.
Yeah.
in America, you have to wear a mask everywhere.
Is that right?
Yeah, everywhere.
Yep.
Every public place, mask.
Yep.
And so I'd have a mask on I'd honestly always forget my mask.
Yep.
And just by the end of it, I just started getting used to it, like have a mask in my pocket or something. But yeah.
After 6-7 months
Yeah.
or so?
If I wasn't in my own vehicle, because I always had like 3 or 4 in there.
Yep.
If I was in someone else's vehicle, I always forgot a mask. It was like a job.
Yeah, right. It's sort of like a part of your job card you got to take.
Yeah.
Because it must have been, it's in Queensland. It sort of hasn't been, thank goodness. Touch wood, it's been pretty much day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But you look at different parts of the world, and obviously the States has been one. It's affected heavily.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
It's actually crazy. I heard on the news that Australians are taking it super serious about the whole COVID thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like Americans have got masks on and everything, like reduced seating, you can't sit at some places and everything. And for me to come from there back to here, it feels like back to normal.
Life's good, which is great. I think we've done a great job, and fingers crossed it stays like that.
No, Australia was definitely smart about shutting the border down, and
for sure.
Yeah, it was good.
So, what happens? You go to one of these huge events, and you've done them for multiple years now. What's it like going to a Springfield Mile or something like that? Is the atmosphere just? Is it?
It's normally crazy, but this year because of COVID, obviously no fans. Oh, there's depends what track we're at because every state had a different fan capacity.
Right. Yep.
So you go through some places that have 7%, and then you have some that have got 75%. It just all changes. But yeah, it's funny. Like not in the previous years, stands are full. Like Springfield Mile, there's not a spare seat.
Just crazy.
Fan walk, it's just intense. Everyone's drinking, and like all the fans obviously drinking and just having a good time. And
you must love that, hey?
Yeah, no, it's just such a good environment.
Good environment, yeah. Because you come to here. Last Saturday was huge. There's a lot of events like that as well. But to go on the grand scale of being over to Springfield Mile or something must be good as a rider.
Yeah, for sure, and that's really cool.
So, what's been one of your favourite events here? You've done some different ones here. You obviously did Sultans last year. You've done Aussie titles.
Mm-hmm.
I remember filming you at the Baylor stuff at MotoGP.
Yep.
You were pretty young there. You would have been on
probably like 14 actually.
Yeah, you would have been just started on the 250.
Yep.
So, what's been some fun stuff here?
I always loved the Tribals Classic.
Yeah.
It sucks it's not on anymore. I love that, and I love the Brisbane Cup.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
That's such a fun meeting. A lot of Miller's coming back, and
he's coming back again, eh?
Yeah, a lot of those guys have come out for it, at the end of the year, and it's just sort of like, just go for it, Everyone just leaves nothing on the table.
It's like a Christmas party for motorcycles.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like everybody gets together. Yeah, it's such a good event.
Yeah, and there's always good racing, no matter what.
For sure.
Yeah.
That final's just massive.
Yeah, it's
So,
different track every year. It's cool.
Yeah, it is definitely. So, and that is right. Hey, Jack's definitely coming back to.
Yeah, Jack's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to beat him.
I do, yeah. That'd
So,
be tough.
Yeah, because it's, you've obviously got, people to automatically think of would be yourself, Jared, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Michael Kirkness is coming up.
I'm not too sure, but there's like a lot of young kids coming
as
up
well,
too.
coming through the ranks as well. So.
There's a lot of them, and then there's Caden Downing for say he's a really good rider. Josh Krajonic, he's Speedway.
Yeah, fast.
From North Queensland. You got Billy Van Erd.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously like the young local kids too, like Koshin, Seth Korshevsky. There's a lot.
It's a good field.
It's gonna be packed.
Do you notice that coming back each time that the riding's getting stronger here?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I look like but when I was a kid, it was
just
pretty strong. Yeah.
You would have done a bit of your junior stuff with Billy Van Erd, hey?
Oh yeah, that's actually one I missed out earlier about the whole career.
You would have come through about the same sort of time.
He's a year younger than me, and
Is that right?
always, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
we were racing together.
Is that right?
Yeah, didn't matter if it was for New South Wales title. Somehow we always found each other on the track. 5th and 6th, 1st and 2nd, 11th and 12th. Doesn't matter. We were always battling.
The same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just trying to think back, and I'm like, yeah, you guys would have been fairly through the same sort of time and whatnot. Did you ever look at going to road?
A little bit, not really. Obviously, it's a bit expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I was always on the taller side, so
Yep.
Mum and Dad both road raced. Actually,
they?
Yeah. So they road raced before I was born,
Yep.
and then Dad road raced a little bit once I was, after I was born. But
Yep.
it was sort of just like too hard, and I was pretty tall. So yeah, we sort of just stuck into flat track.
Yep. And yeah, I knew your dad had road raced, which is Brett. I don't think we've mentioned that anyway, but but your mum road raced as well.
Yeah. So Mum used to road race. Yeah.
Man, you've got quite a heritage around the racing traps, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, what about some of the other tracks over there? What sort of suits your style now? You like better at the longer track, or what are you better at?
I prefer honestly like a looser cushion short track. That's my favorite.
Really?
Like Daytona Beach. It was sort of a groove on night 2.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter. It was still a groove, but you could ride sideways almost.
Yeah, right.
It like slippery. That was a fun track, honestly.
So that's where you're trying to find grip.
Yeah.
That's your.
You got to search. And you got to change your riding style.
Yep.
Move around a lot on the bike. Smooth on the throttle.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff I really enjoy.
All technical.
Yep.
And obviously this year Daytona Bike Week wasn't a thing because that was the start of the year.
Yep.
What's that event like normally? What's Daytona like?
It's so crazy.
Yeah?
So many people, so many different bikes. Everyone rocks up and they got like their big stereos playing and everything. It's awesome.
You're obviously a fan of bikes in general.
Yeah.
Did you get to go to the Supercross or anything?
Yeah, I actually watched Supercross. That was awesome too.
Yeah. What an event, eh?
Oh, it's nuts. Such a unique track as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the things, and Daytona is one of the things I'd love to go to. But yeah, Daytona Supercross is an event to be.
Oh, yeah.
Have you managed to go out for a ride or been at any of the tracks? Like, I know there's a couple of flat tracks in California, and that sounds like you base yourself more on the other side, but where some of the other Supercross riders come and have a bit of a go at or anything like that?
I've raced Paris short track once. It was a fun thing. And then I've done a little bit of riding at the Paris half mile, and that's about it, really. Yep.
So most of the time back on the East Coast, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
And that's a good place to base yourself?
East Coast, yeah. West Coast is just as good, but they're all you got to have a good group of people around you.
And that's what you found. You got your hub as such, haven't you?
Yeah.
Nice. And can you say anything about next year, or is it locked up?
I can't say anything, but just singles. That's it.
Singles? Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I didn't even want to ask. I just wanted to talk a bit about next year. So to sort of see. So
no, it'll be out in a couple of months, but or less. But I'll usually be the first to know about it. But
should be doing singles again though.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And did you obviously you had Bauman's to help you with mechanical work? How mechanically minded are you? Do you do a lot of your own stuff as well?
Honestly, before I went over there, it's so funny.
Yep.
When I went over there, I didn't change tires or nothing. Dad did it all.
Yep.
And I soon learned the fast way because Barry had helped me out and my buddy Matt on the weekends.
Yep.
Matt and Keith would come to certain meetings, but Barry was at every single one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but through the week, I did all my own stuff.
Yep.
tires, wheels, everything. And
Wow.
so it was funny. We never went from changing a tire in my life to all of a sudden changing like 3 a week. And it was just like the biggest reality check in my life.
Do you enjoy it now?
Oh, I don't mind it, yeah.
Yeah.
You get sick of it. You get like sick of it through the season though, because you want to like train as well, or you got to drive, then work on bikes and try and squeeze in a bit of riding or training and then race on the weekend. So it's pretty full on, but I enjoy having just the weekends off a little bit.
Yeah, keep away from it a bit.
Yeah.
What's your say engine valves and stuff like that? How often do you have to pull them down often, or?
I did it once this year. That's it.
Okay.
And I only did it once because I rode 4 months
Yeah.
on one bike before it even started.
Good reliability.
Yeah.
Really, that's pretty awesome.
We do a little bit to them, but not too much.
Yep. Nice. On a bad day of racing, you've gotten to Texas. How do you focus when you're having a real rough day? What do you?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like you got to try and like bring it around, but it's tough. A couple of races this year I actually turned around pretty good. Obviously, I qualified pretty ordinary at Atlanta.
Yep.
And ended up third there on night 2. A 6th there on night 1. But there's like a couple of tracks where you sort of struggle a little bit, but then you'll get in a groove early on in the main event. And you're like, you're picking them off, consistently just getting through them, and it's like all of a sudden you find yourself, up front. So it's good. But yeah, you just got to try and stay focused, really.
If you stay in singles, which obviously for next year, but who knows, you might do it for another few years. Who's going to be biggest rivals coming through for the next few, you reckon?
I know Cody Kopp's coming through. He's Joe Kopp's son. He's really quick.
Wow.
But plus a lot of the Henry's staying down, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Dallas Daniels, he won the championship, so he's going to be, obviously he's a great rider.
Yeah.
And then there's so many kids, or like people. I shouldn't say kids. There's so many like people that are my age, older, that are like so fast. The list is endless. Like the Trent Lowe's, Trevor Bruners, Cole Zabala. There's so many. Obviously Shayna Texter.
Yeah.
The list is ridiculous.
Isn't it crazy the depth?
Yeah.
Of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
When you start rattling off those names.
Yeah, Mikey Rush. It just keeps going.
Yep. So you've got unlimited competitors for,
and they're all strong at
Yep.
So I was lucky this year because I was probably the most consistent. I made every main. I only left the top 10 twice.
Yep.
But you'll have people that just come out all of a sudden one round, just boom, win it. You're like, what?
Where'd they come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so you everyone sort of have their own personal favorite track as well.
Yep. I guess that comes back to where you test on and what you've grown up with in that as well.
For sure.
How do you afford it? Is there contingencies through brands, or is there do you get prize money?
Yeah, I get prize money.
You get prize money through
there.
there?
Yeah. A little bit of contingency.
You're living off prize money.
Pretty much, yeah. Dad helps me out still, but next year I'll be this year I was mainly on my bike. I did a lot of the funding. Dad helped me out with a few things, but next year it'll be just me.
It'll be
Yeah.
Was it Don's Kawasaki you mentioned at the start?
Yeah.
Do they help you out with bikes and stuff like that? Or?
The bikes are ours, but they help me out with when I had to rebuild them. They help me out with parts, and
cool.
I park my RV there. It's currently parked there right now.
Yeah. So you just park it up, lock it, and just walk away.
There's a lot more to it. You got to empty all the food out of it. Clean the fridge, hook it up so the fridge doesn't go moldy, and put a cover over it. A little bit of messing around, but yeah, that's about it.
And hopefully, come late February, early March, you're back there.
Yep.
Back in home again.
Yeah.
Does it feel like home?
It does.
Especially after a few years.
It comes here, come back here after 9 months or something. It felt weird to come home.
You don't have an accent.
No, I don't.
Which is pretty good. It's very easy to pick up an accent.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
Have you driven on the wrong side of the road yet?
In Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You have?
I left the gym the other day. I was half tired.
Yep.
And I was driving out. It's in Noosa.
Mm-hmm.
And I was it's like a side road sort of deal. And there's a car coming right at me, and I'm thinking, what are they doing?
Yep.
I didn't think anything of it. And then I'm like, oh, quickly flicked it over, and I was like, well, I was lucky.
Isn't it strange? I know. I came home. I think it was my last trip or my second last trip to the States. I've driven my whole life growing up here. Driven here. I've been over there for 6 weeks. Get in the car with my dad, and I'm driving up the wrong side of the road, and he's like, "What are you doing, mate?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right. But you fall into the default of holiday or work for you over there so much quicker than what you do to your home stuff, and you don't even realise it, and that's the same with accents quite often as well. So.
Yeah. So like a couple of times, when I'm not focusing on the road, I'll notice I've done it a couple of times. I forget the other time, but I was in the wrong lane again, and then I was like, dude, you need to pull together.
Man, for me it was car parks. Come back into Oz for car parks because there's quite a lot going on in that, and and you pick it up pretty quick back home and whatnot, and it's so cruisy here compared to as well. You would have travelled thousands of miles in the last 6-7 months. Pennsylvania, Illinois, Texas, like you rattled off a fair few places to travel to.
Yeah, Florida a couple of times.
Yeah,
3 times. Yeah,
3 times to Florida. Does America have gloss anymore? Do you still love going there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I just love hanging out with the people. There's so many awesome people that help me out.
Yeah.
And just the tracks that are so good.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing. I love it.
But
there's so many areas you got to be careful of as well.
Yeah,
right. You got to be like the bad areas, obviously. You normally steer clear from the big cities mainly.
Yeah. Keep out in the what we
rural
call rural
areas. Yeah. The bush.
Tell me about riding the KX500. What was that like?
I think it's a beast for sure. Yeah. It's been a while since I rode it. Yeah. I think I rode it like 2 years, last year, YBO titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, thing's mental.
Good fun?
Yeah.
What's it like in lap speed compared? What do you reckon you'd be? Do you reckon it'd be any good?
Well, I've ridden it a couple of times, and at Brisbane, like North Brisbane, Nudgee, way quicker on the 450. Maryborough, a little bit quicker on the 450.
Pretty close?
Yeah, pretty close. But then I went to Bathurst, Long Track Masters, when I was, I think, 17.
Yeah.
And I think I did the second quickest time of the night on the 500. I only did one heat on it though because it's methanol, so fuel has to stay in to keep it cool because it's an old 2-stroke, and so I finished the race, shut it off, didn't think anything about it. Thing just locked up solid in the first heat race.
No.
Yeah. So that was a big learning curve, but I think I did the second fastest time of the night in my first heat, first time riding it
on the 500.
Yeah.
Aren't they a cool bike still?
Oh, it's honestly it handles so good as well.
It does?
Yeah, such a long wheelbase, super stable.
Yep. So you get it onto a track like Bathurst and that on the long track.
Yeah, barely need a turn.
Bike. Yeah, nice. But the 450s are just so linear power, so smooth.
They're good everywhere. Yep.
Going with no front brakes, was that a big switch?
A little bit, especially the thing I struggled with the most because I actually ride with my finger on the front brake all the time.
Just as a natural.
Just as a thing, yeah. And so I just, when I first got to America, I'm sort of like, where is it? Just like a little thing in my head, but I got used to it after a while.
It's an interesting, like we've just, I'll show you after this, we've just built a couple of Harley because they've started a bit of V-twin racing here.
Yep.
And I was stressing about riding it. I was thinking with no front brake. And everyone's like, nah, it's fine. You'll get used to it. And it was fine.
It's not bad, yeah.
But unloading it from the van and the trucks is the hardest part because you just default to this and you get it at 250 kilos and you're like, that's more scary than riding it.
Yeah.
And it's funny the little things that you find out along the way as well. So,
for sure.
Would you? I guess a lot of people Super Twins is a thing.
Yep.
Is that something you'd like to get into at some point?
That's my for sure goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah, for sure.
That must be tough, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys are the best. Of the best.
Yeah. It's a such a tight class too, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Like tight to get into. There's only so many spots that you can get in, and it's getting almost like you've got to be into a factory to get in now.
Yeah, you got to be, or you got to be in a team, a good team.
A good team, yeah. Which is sort of like a semi-factory idea, isn't it? Like
pretty much, yeah. There's I think there's three factory teams, and then the rest are in the Super Twins class, and the rest are pretty well supported teams, really.
Yeah, like sort of on the fringe of being, a dealership factory team, I guess, is such a weird call here, sort of thing. What is your go-to track over in the States? What's the one that you can think of that's the one?
Not like my favourite?
Yeah.
I love Daytona TT.
That is the track.
Yeah, or Peoria TT, they're my favourites.
Yeah.
Or, Springfield. I don't mind TT, Springfield TT as well.
Yeah.
So it was tough there was no TTs this year because they're probably my favourite.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And how did you enjoy Sultan's here last year?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
It was fun, yeah.
Do you think that was, for dirt track, one of the obviously Troy Bayliss Classic's been the best event I think ever for dirt track here.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
think that was pretty close to
It was good. Like
in the path to go that way?
Yeah, no, for sure. It
Yep.
was good. It was really well run. But yeah, it was good. You know, just 3 weeks on the trot, bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
I enjoyed it a lot, but it's sort of it's tough almost to try and get everyone to go to 19s in Australia because they've run trials tire 21 their whole life.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to get them to change. You know what I'm saying? But once they sort of get it, it'll be great because you can run a 19 on oil, loose dirt, like no dirt. You can run it on whatever.
Yep.
Where trials tire you can't run it on oil. You know, 17s you can run it on the dirt, but it's terrible. So yeah, it's the 19 you can run one tyre for every surface. It just makes way more sense.
It does.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be heaps better. And you look at places like old days of Maryborough. 17, you could run 17
Yep.
all weekend, no drama.
Yeah, for sure.
But nowadays, the way the track is, you be, unless you're on 19s and go 19s all day, you'd be going from morning 21:18
And then
to
17, yeah.
You know, like
It makes no sense.
things like that. It just makes perfect sense to go to 19. Everybody do it.
Way
done.
cheaper for everyone as well.
Cheaper, yep. So hopefully, I don't know, just needs more people to sort of jump on board of that, I feel, anyway.
Yeah.
So, because that's a really fun, that's a fun track up there, eh?
Oh yeah, no,
So-
that is a good track.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully things like Sultan, obviously there's no Sultan's Slide this year, but it'd be cool to see something like that, you know, in the near future
Yeah.
where you get, you know, a twins, a 450 and maybe a 250 and maybe a junior
Yeah, class. Yeah.
class. Just
For
running
sure.
like that would be, I think that'd be really cool to see for Oz.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So, you know, Kempsey was another one, wasn't it? So it was Kemp for Sultans.
Yeah, it was Wagga Wagga, then Appin,
Yeah.
and then Kempsey.
Did you base yourself anywhere or did you come home each weekend?
No,
Do you remember?
I
Or did you stay down there?
I flew home because I was working at the time.
Oh, yeah?
I was a carpenter, yeah. So this year I didn't do any work, but
Yeah.
last year I was working. So
Yeah.
I'd fly home and work all week and then fly back and then race. But yeah, no, it's cool.
Leave a van down there or something?
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
The first from Wagga to Appin, Dad just stayed in Sydney, but
Yeah.
then we left and then he left with me and then we flew back a couple days before and then drove to Kempsey.
So is that what you do when you're home? Chippy work?
Yeah, normally
Yeah.
I didn't do it this year, but yeah, I normally do.
Normally do.
Mhm.
Yep. Tell me a special day in racing life. What's been a special day?
Like what?
Just one of the best days you've had racing, whether it be a junior, whether it be that win.
It'd have to be the win for
the
sure.
win?
Yep.
Better than winning an Aussie title?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's great. Like Australian title is still great,
For sure.
but yeah, no, just it's super special the way it is. You know, there's a fair few fans that night. The Florida government didn't really have huge fan restrictions.
They haven't really cared the whole way
No,
up.
no.
Yeah.
And so it was good. There's a few fans there, and it's just like first races well of the year.
Yeah.
You know, everyone was sort of like up in the air about it, and yeah, to come out and win it was awesome.
Tears?
Nah, I didn't cry. I don't get that emotional.
Not at the emotional?
Nah.
Huge thing, mate. Like as you say, you've started this at 4 years old. This journey
Mhm.
to get to that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're like in MotoGP of flat track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's the premium version of flat track.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to go there, and you've won. You know, it must be a good feeling.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So next year, you've got to get the number one plate. Obviously, that's the goal.
the only
hey?
goal. Yeah.
That's the main
Win
thing.
championship. Yeah.
Yep. So go back over next year. You'll get your van and just travel around. Same sort of deal.
A bit different. You know, the bigger meetings. We'll pretty much the same deal.
Same sort of idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, mate, who actually, I've got to ask, who supported you along the way of people? Like, you've obviously had long-term sponsors to help get through this, obviously.
Yeah.
Dad's been a huge thing, but
Dad's
you've
been
had
huge.
people on board for a pretty long time as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Soco Motorsports has been a big help.
Gavin Eels?
Yeah.
Yep.
Gavin Eels and the whole crew there. They've been a massive help. Answer 100%. RI helmets this year. That was awesome. Awesome to pick up them.
How was it, actually, that's something I want to ask you. How was it riding full face over there?
It's alright, you get used to it.
Get used to it?
A bit different at the start,
Yeah.
but you get used to it.
Yep.
And then I got, a lot of sponsors here too, like Australian Road Services, they're awesome.
That's Kyle Douglas?
Yep. Kyle and Adam.
And Adam Liebke? Yep.
Yeah. I got True Turf, they helped me out. A lot of local guys as well.
Yep.
As I said, Dad, Mum, And then also in America, I've got a lot of awesome sponsors as well, like Don's Kawasaki this last year. You know, Briar and Shayna, they helped me out. Bronson, you know, Barry and Lisa Bauman, you know, Matt, Keith and Jill Singleton. There's so many people. Rispoli, he helps me out.
He's a cool dude, eh?
Yeah, he's so funny.
Yep.
So there's Rispoli, and then Corey Texter. There's so many people that help me out. It's awesome.
It's so cool to see. I feel that there's like a real cool time in the sport at the moment.
Yeah, no,
you know,
for sure.
You've got Corey and that doing the tank slapping
Mm-hmm.
podcast and that over there as well. You've got Rispoli doing like his vlogs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's sort of cool to see characters and that coming through and different sides of the sport.
Yep.
I think that's something that's missed out on. You know, Supercross and that does it really well. That's the way that they've boosted their thing.
Yep.
But it's really cool to see some of the people in the sport.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I feel that's really, and things like this give people the platform to be able to talk about their sport that they're in as well.
Yeah.
Which has probably been missed for a long time. It's accessible now,
for sure.
so it's cool.
Yeah.
So, what gear do you wear normally? So, Answer's obviously
Answer
for
MX,
motocross.
yeah. And then obviously,
What about leathers?
Shark Leathers has been a huge sponsor as well.
Yep.
Sorry about that, yeah.
Yeah, so Shark from the Gold Coast, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep.
Family
Good
run
people.
business, yeah. Awesome business, yeah.
So they do leathers for you, obviously custom
Customs,
leather.
yep.
Yep. And you take them back over.
Yeah, I take them. I get a set every year and take them back over and then bring them home, and yeah.
Yep.
They're awesome, yeah.
Because I believe they've been with you for a while too, eh?
Oh yeah, when I first started juniors, they were with me.
Yeah, right.
Junior 250s, yeah, junior 250s. I was like 13. I had my first set.
Because as a family, obviously they've been around bikes their whole time as well.
Lot, yeah.
And very well known around, you know, junior Aussie titles, flat track ranks and that as well. Hey?
No, for sure, yeah.
Well, mate, thanks for coming in.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Been
It's
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I wasn't riding enduro bikes, I'd be definitely coming to the North Brisbane Cup.
Yeah.
So, but spewing on, absolutely, I was talking about last night, spewing on missing it. But yeah, are you going to ride Maryborough?
I'm going to try to, yeah.
Never know, I might even come up on Sunday.
Oh, sweet.
But yeah, thanks so much for coming in, mate. And I
thank you.
can't wait to see what you achieve. And as long as you enjoy it and you're doing something that so many people would just love to do. And yeah, you seem like such a humble, cool dude. So thanks for coming in.
No, thank you very much for having me. It was awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.